I just don't know which sleeves to choose. What's up, Planeswalkers? Grixis back with some more Magic the Gathering news. Now, please stay with me because I think this topic is really interesting. Also, I need the internet validation. But today, we are going to be looking at the interesting new March update with some sweet, sweet cosmetic features. And that's why I did the sleeve thing. But I also did the sleeve thing because you should all go and head over to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a great deal and help support the show. And you can still get Dragon Shield sleeves for $7.99. That's such a good deal. Go do it. It's great. But yes, today we're talking about an amazing update. I saw this update like on the bus ride to campus today, and whoo-wee, I'm stoked. I am so incredibly excited. So let's just jump into it. So you all should read. I will have links to both of these web pages that I'm looking at here in the description below. But essentially, this March update is going to be a cosmetic update as well as a new player experience update. And I'm really excited for pretty much every aspect of this. Now, of course, there are things that I think should be tweaked a little bit, but I'll talk about those. So first things first, you are going to get the option to put freaking card backs on your cards. And that is just sweet. And of course, in the store, they're going to have guild bundles for each of the Ravnica guilds. So that'll include a card sleeve, which I believe would be these ones that are up here. As well as a card style, which we'll talk about in just a bit, as well as an avatar for each of the guild leaders. So my assumption here is that if I buy the Boros guild bundle, right, I'll get this card sleeve, 4 card styles. I'm not sure exactly which ones for that we'll get. I assume it's going to be the guild leaders, and then my assumption is the Shockland and the Checkland, maybe? That would make sense to me. And then, of course, for each guild leader, so if I get the Boros one, I'll have Aurelia as well as Tajik as an option for the avatar, which I think is really cool. There are card styles across 100 cards, so it seems like not all of these cards are going to be a thing. And you know what? Just before we get into it, these are what card styles are. They are like essentially full image, kind of like 3D thing, and it's really awesome. And I assume that what they're doing here is that this is going to be our foils, right? I think that their solution to the foil difficulty, because in my opinion, I don't like the idea of foils generally in card games. So like Hearthstone has like the gold leaf and kind of sort of animation. Duelist has kind of an aura around it. Elder Scrolls Legends has just the animation thing. You know, there are a bunch of things like that, but when it comes to shiny foils, right, when you just make them shiny, it doesn't translate as well to the digital sphere. So I think that this is a fantastic solution to that, because people love full arts, right? And this is super full art. So this, I think, is going to be super popular. I know I'm going to get a large number of these. If nothing else, I'm getting the lands, right? Everyone will be able to get the lands for this. And what's really cool, and I believe they show this here. No, they don't. Awkward. They show it over here. And I'm going to be jumping back and forth because I have to, essentially. With card styles, there's only one pip, right? As soon as you have one of that card style, you can use it for all of the same cards that have that same art. So there is a Dominaria Llanowar Elf, and I think there might be an M19 Llanowar Elf, I think so, that use the same art. So if you get this Llanowar Elf, this art card style, it will include all 4 copies you have for your Dom ones, and all 4 copies you have for M19, if that is a thing. So as long as they share the same art, reprints will still allow you to use this card style. So, for example, we right now have those Pauper Llanowar Elves that have the different border. That would not count for this, because that is not only is that a different art, it's also a different treatment in and of itself. So that's really cool. And of note, they're not all things that you have to buy. Some of the things that you just unlock by playing. And my assumption is that that's going to tie in with this thing. And I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but it's just like I can't contain my excitement. So it's cool. Not all the things are going to be purchase necessary. Some of them are going to be earned as well, and I think that's really cool. So just a quick look, right? These are some of the really, really awesome looks. Like, I mean, you I can't really say anything, right? Just look at this. It just looks so good, especially on this Orzhov cards, man. Like, Oh man, I'm gonna waste so much money on this. But yeah, so card styles, they don't add cards to your collection. So if you get the card style for example, Teferi, you're not going to get a Teferi, right? You will be able to apply these to your cards that you have, but it doesn't give you those cards. And of course, as I said, once you have them, it applies to all of the versions, and they have a really good example here. So, okay, cool. So the Rivals of Ixalan or the Core Set 19, if you get the card style for this, I'm just going to call them foils because, gosh dang it, card styles is dumb. It's not dumb, it's just it's hard for me to remember. If you get the Luminous Bonds foil on Arena, then you'll have that for both Rivals and Core Set. But this, since it's a different art, you won't have, even though it's the same card. Let's see. So, is there anything else I want to talk about with card styles? No. I think that it's a really cool thing. Oh, you know what? There totally is. Card styles. How much do they cost? This is something that I think needs work. I don't think these are too egregiously expensive, and I'll talk about why. But I think these are a little bit more expensive than they should be. And when I say a little bit, I mean like 50 to only 100 gems, right? I don't think these should be half price. I don't think they should be like a quarter of the price. But I feel as if like 50 or 100 gems off of this would be a better spot. Now, I'm of course not saying that these should be, you know, essentially free, right? Because cosmetics is where you want your money to be, right? If Wizards is making all of like a bunch of their money from cosmetics, then that will incentivize them to give us more actual cards from free play, from just our end of the season rewards, things like that, special events. They would potentially be more generous there because they see so many people will choose to buy those cosmetics, but not necessarily spend money on these other things. So I think that this is close to fine. I just feel as if it should be tweaked a little bit. And I did some quick maths. 2 + 2 is 4. Minus 1 is 3 quick maths. So for $100, now this is something that the majority of people aren't going to necessarily pay. But for $100, that gives you your best payout for gems, and that's 20,000 gems, right? So with 20,000 gems, you can get 50 common cards. Now, of course, what they said here to start with is that there are only 100 cards, right? So right now, in the game, there are only about 100 cards that Wizards has done these card styles for, these foils for. So I'm pretty certain 50 of them aren't common, right? But that said, as they move forward and add more and more card styles, more foils to the game, you're going to have more room to pay for. And it's important to note that these card styles, you only need one of them, right? As soon as you have a single Llanowar Elf card style, that applies to every deck that you have Llanowar Elf in, if you choose to. And you don't need like one for each copy, right? It's you have the card style, you can apply it to the card, right? That's something that is important, and that's why I think these are close to being what they're worth, right? So you can get 50 from 2,000 gold, but those are just commons, right? And getting 50 common styles, even though there's probably the most likely card you're going to be playing across decks, it's just not, it doesn't feel right for $100, right? It seems weird that for $2 you're getting a common card, right? And that's only if you get the best value, the best gem conversion. Then you move on and you have 33 uncommons that we're wiping the commons away. 33 uncommons with $200 or 200 gems remaining. You can't even get a common for that, which sucks. And that is more to do with, I don't like how they have like poor rounding in their gems in their store. I don't like it. I think that it should be better. But the fact that you can get gem rewards from things like draft and stuff, I think that makes it less egregious, right? The fact that you can earn gems, which also is of note, right? You can earn gems in game in order to buy these, right? It's not something that you have to pay for gold. It's just something that is going to take longer for you to get, and you're going to have to be better at the game. And I think that's fair, right? I think if you want the cosmetics, but you're not good, I think it's fair to buy the cosmetics. That's where free-to-play games make most of their money. So, I think that's reasonable. I just think that's a little bit too much for only like 33 uncommons. And then you can get 20 rares. It's not bad. Pop in some Mortifies and some Shock Lands and things like that. It just seems just, as I said, just a little bit not great. If it was like 22 rares, 25 rares, something like that, it would feel a little bit better. And then only 16 mythics with 800 remaining. And with that 800, you could buy one uncommon and two common, or one uncommon or two commons. But again, it's just a little strange, and that is kind of compounded upon that the majority of people aren't going to be able to drop $100 at once, right? You may be able to justify $10 this week for the, I think that's the $1,600 gem bundle. You know, $10 this week, wait a couple weeks, $10 this week, right? People are going to more likely do that, and it kind of sucks that in that sense they're fundamentally getting less than if they just got 100. And of course, you know, to those people, you could literally just say, well, yeah, but just save up your $10 each week and then like buy it in bulk. Look, I study psychology, and delayed gratification is widely studied. And not everyone thinks on that same analytical, logistical level. So, yeah, you know. But yeah, I think that's all for card styles that I want to mention. Next up, we go to card sleeves. So there's some of these, but also there are some of these. And I don't remember if it's in this one. No, it's in this one. We get, oh, and stuff, card styles, who cares? No, not avatars yet. I really wish that they showed these things first. All right, cool. So yeah, so there's exquisite sleeves as well as normal sleeves, right? I believe, oh my, I just realized something that might be annoying. These actually might be the sleeves that you're going to get from the bundles. I hope not. But you can choose to apply sleeves, right? So you don't have to. And you can, once you have a sleeve, you can choose it for all your decks. So let's say I buy that sweet Orzhov sleeve. Vicari, may he rest in peace. Spoiler alert. But I buy that Orzhov sleeve. I can put that on all of my decks, one of my decks, half of my decks. I get to choose, right? There's no limit on how often you can use that card sleeve. And what's really nice is that it's pretty simple to do, to change. You just, over by the deck picture, you just click that, and it'll pull up the card sleeve you want, and you select it. Pretty simple to change, right? And that's really helpful. These are pretty basic, but still, they look good, right? They look fine. I think that the Ravnica guild symbols, especially at this point now, are really clean and really nice, and they look good, right? They're pretty evocative of what their colors are. But the cost is a little strange. So for these, and the reason it's strange is not actually because this is bad. I think this price is super great. Standard sleeves, 600 gems. That costs you an uncommon though. That's weird. Exquisite sleeves cost you 12,000 or 1,200 gems. That's the cost of a mythic. That's what makes me feel like the mythics for the card styles. That makes me feel like the card styles are overpriced, because the sleeves you can put on literally any deck, but the mythic style you can only put on that individual card in an individual deck that you won't always see. So it just seems like a little strange. I think these are priced great, honestly. 1,200 gems for an exquisite sleeve, and this is what the exquisite sleeves look like. I think that's fine. Like, that is a snappy design, right? That is very evocative of the Boros Legion. You have that nice shine effect, and that's going to occur in game, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, then it says other card sleeves will be available as part of a bundle or unlocked through play. So you're going to be able to. It also says seasonal rewards, so they're giving a reason to care about your season rank. So I'm going to have to try and grind a mythic every season, I assume, because I need all of the card backs always. Like, I'm going to try and collect everything in this game. Everything. Every single thing. So I'm one of the whales, and I make content for it, so, you know, it justifies things. But part of the bundle, we know that they're going to be guilds of the guild bundles. I feel like these might be from the guild bundles, and that makes me a little sad, because it would be cool if these were from the guild bundles, but meh. Anyway, up next is avatars, but they don't talk about it here. So let's go back up, because they decided not to make these two things similar. Avatars. We have new avatars. That's awesome. Period. Period, end of discussion. It's awesome. People have free options for their avatars. That's good. If you want a specific one, find out how to unlock it. I think that's totally fair. Now, you have to, I believe based on this, you will have to buy some. The Huatli and Angrath avatars only cost 500 gems. That's reasonable. Or 3,000 gold, also reasonable. But they didn't use the right Angrath. They said that the avatars from closed beta, when we had Huatli and Angrath, we would be able to use. But if I recall correctly, they used the normal Angrath, and that's not the normal Angrath, and I'm so mad about this. They're gonna see water burn. But no, it's whatever. I'll just not play as Angrath. I'll play as someone else because my gosh, we've got Rakdos here looking evil AF. It's like all of these look freaking great. Vannifar looks amazing. She looks top notch. I'm gonna have to do another video. I don't know if I even did that video. I'm gonna have to do an avatar video ranking all of the avatars because I'm a madman. But yes, some of them are going to be just in. You can unlock additional avatars and store bundles. Sure. The thing is, right? Where exactly are they going to be? Because going forward, I assume they're not going to be able to do bundles for everything because not everything has the guilds, right? So are they just going to offer them in the store? How much are those gems going to, how much are those gem things going to cost? So it's like weird, but I believe that you're going to get these mostly from the bundles, right? Like this is Azorius Man. I assume there's going to be another Azorius person around somewhere, but it's fine. And the thing is, right? It's just expanding on the feel of Arena, which I think is fantastic, right? You're not going to be seeing freaking Karns and Teferis and Johnnies and Vivians all the time. You're going to be able to see different stuff. And of course, since it's new, during the first month, it's going to be just the new ones. But I'm probably going to be sticking with Lily. I might use Vannifar because she's awesome. It's not a technical thing. It's just she's awesome. Then we get to practice makes perfect. Actually, before we go through that, we're gonna look at some general questions, and I think the main one I want to look at here is: can you disable cosmetics? No. Insofar as you can choose not to use your own, but if your opponent has cosmetics, you can't turn that off. And I'm fine with that as long as it doesn't impact gameplay, because I know that, gosh, what game was it? I've played so many dang card games. I think it was Gwent. In the early days of Gwent, the cosmetics impacted gameplay, period. I was playing on my laptop still at the time, and if I didn't turn the option off, I was essentially unable to play Gwent. But Gwent did have a way to just disable them, just all of them disabled. So, if Arena says you can't disable your opponents, they need to make sure that even crap computers and, eventually phones and tablets and stuff will be able to, handle this, because that can feel real bad if your computer or whatever is chugging and you miss out on time and things like that because your opponent has a ton of flashy cosmetics, right? So I think that's something that they need to make sure they realize. Also, I just want to point out right now, can you give cosmetics? We can't at this time. So potentially they're going to input a gift type thing. So next up, we'll go really briefly about this practice thing. I think it's fine. They're modifying their practice tree and things. So, you're going to be able to have a practice mode, and I think that's cool. It depends, of course, on how difficult the AI is, and if you can, set the difficulty, what decks they're playing with, etc., etc. So, depending exactly on... I love that. I just realized that. That's great. Depending on exactly how the AI works for the practice mode, I think this could be a very helpful tool for new players, or players who just, want to practice a deck without hopping directly into ranked or ruining someone's casual play, right? Let's say this is a very good AI that you can actually modify the strength of, right? And you can also not necessarily give it a deck. I mean, it'd be great if you could, but not necessarily give it a deck, but just pick from an option of decks that are, super casual, mid-tier, and then actual meta, right? I could, as someone who tries a variety of decks, I can go into practice mode to practice a little bit before I jump into ranked, because a lot of times when I'm making decks or when I'm practicing decks, it's an iterative process, right? So I might have a really bad deck at the beginning and I just constantly lose, and then I change the deck enough that I start winning, but I've lost that rank, so it's really difficult for me to play too many games with the unfinished deck in ranked. And that would, right now, where play comes in, and I just play against the casual people. But that's not really fair to them, right? If I'm coming in with a deck full of rares and mythics, even though there's a matchmaking algorithm, it may not be fair, right? So with a practice mode, if it's competent, people like me or people who are just trying out new meta decks, strong decks that they're not comfortable with playing yet, they don't have to prey upon those people in play mode, and they can potentially, if this is a good AI, get real legitimate feedback for their deck. So I think this is potentially really good depending on how they decide to implement it. I think honestly for right now it's probably just going to be like a practice thing for just new players, which is unfortunate, but still. And then of course there's a mastering magic tree. This is just cool, right? This is they're modifying how the new play experience works, and I think this is a really interesting way to do it, right? Magic is so involved with the mana wheel, right? Excuse me. That I think something like this is really cool. It's really evocative. It feels good. And you get rewards for playing, right? You get gold, deck upgrades, and more. I believe they did say, and I'm not going to read this word for word because I do want you guys to still check this out and think for yourself and things like that. But I believe you'll also get some other rewards, potentially cosmetic ones, that you just get if you've already done the new play experience, because they don't want to make you drudge through them again if you've already done it. So I think that's super cool, right? Then there is I don't know what that was. A constructed treasure event, which is a free event where if you win at least one game, you get a Skewer the Critics foil, and if you win up to 5 games, you get Kemper's Insight foil. And this is each turn you get a treasure, etc., etc. Last time it took forever because I think it was Pauper. I want to say it was free Pauper. It was like the Christmas Pauper or something to get the Lenorelf and the Gulta. I was banging my head against the wall in order to get those Gultas. Hopefully this won't be as bad because it'll be constructed. But my goodness, I need them both. And what's really nice about this though is that you don't have to get 5 wins 4 times, right? With the Gulta one, you did. And this one, since it's the foil, and once you get a foil, you have it for all of the cards. You just have to win 5 once. And I think that's a lot better than how they did it with Gulta. So I really appreciate that. And once again, it's just a free event. It's casual anyway, hopefully. So I believe that's everything I wanted to talk about. I'm not sure if I'm most excited about any of these. Like, I'm not sure which of these cosmetics I'm excited most about. Card sleeves are going to be awesome because you can have so much like subterfuge. So you could have like a Teferi avatar, an Azorius card sleeve, and maybe even make it like the Great One. And you're playing freaking mono red, right? That type of like stupid deck subtlety is potentially going to matter, right? I already make play decisions based on the first land my opponent plays, right? I could be going against Esper Control, and if the first card that they play is a Swamp, right? I'm like, all right, this is like Swamp Pass. I'm like, all right, maybe this is like Black Red or something like that. And it's like, oh, next turn they play a Holophon. I'm like, oh. So, you know, there's that little bit of subterfuge. And of course, you should not pay attention to cosmetics in terms of that. Don't think that your opponent who's playing a Dimir guild character as well as a Dimir sleeves are playing a Dimir deck. You shouldn't necessarily assume that because you will fall in a trap. But avatars, card sleeves, and my god, this looks fantastic. I'm super stoked, and this is coming in a week. It's not even like far off in the future. This is 1 week. 1 week. The 27th. Well, technically less than a week for you all because I'm recording this early, etc., etc. So that's all I'm going to ramble about. I do apologize for the lack of actual video today. I have a 3-hour, well, it shouldn't take 3 hours, but like probably like a 2-hour exam tomorrow at 9 a.m. So I need to finish studying. So I hope that this suffices. I really do. I'm super stoked. And of course, I would like to thank my lovely patrons. We've gotten quite a few new ones recently. And I would not be able to keep doing the show at the scale I'm doing. And some of you are like, what scale? But yeah, I would really like to thank my patrons, especially Salamander and Croft, for their continued support. Like your guys' support is going to make it so I can actually like get all these cosmetics. And what I think I might start doing is patrons can just ask like, hey, for the next like week or something, can you play with this avatar? For the next week, can you play with this card back or something like that? So I mean, that's something that patrons can probably influence. And it'll switch things up for me as well, and I think that'll be a little bit interesting. So yeah, I'd like to thank them. If you'd like to join them in supporting the show and maybe, you know, giving feedback into the channel, you can find links to that down in the description below, as well as links to my ATEP account. Of course, there's no deck to showcase today, but that's totally fine. And of course, I'll link both of the 2 article things that I have up here right now. I really do hope you all enjoy this video. You know, the like-dislike ratio has been really fantastic recently. Like, my likes have always been pretty good, but the views have gone a bit down, which is disappointing, but I really see that there's a ton of engagement there. A lot of people liking the stuff still. A lot of people are still, you know, commenting and things like that, and that's what really matters, so I really do appreciate you guys. But yeah, I do hope that if you did like this video, go ahead and tap that like button, add a subscription to your Maniple, cast a comment to the comment section down below, and pass the turn and the video to some of your friends, and until next time, all will be one, and I cannot wait for these dang cosmetics. I want Lord Bolas. I swear, I will pay like 20,000 gems for Lord Bolas. Please.